want to draw some topography in here, and so first of all I'm just going to look at the elevation of my floor is at 0, and this is maybe not a very good example, but the floor itself is if I look at it, it's 10 inches, about 10 inches deep. I'm going to put the terrain just underneath this wood floor. Maybe not a very practical example, but I'm going to do that. So I'm going to flip to the floor view. I click on the floor view, and the way I usually do terrain is I usually create some geometry first. So under model line, I'm just going to draw a rectangle that kind of represents the terrain that goes around the building. And then under massing and site, I'm clicking on topo surface. And again, I should have done this in the site view. The message I got was telling me that any topography I create is by default is switched off in a floor plan view, whereas it's not in the site view. So I go to the site view, and then I say that I want to let me do this. I've got to cancel out of this now. So on my site view, I say I'm going to create the topography. The elevation, I was going to make something like -9 inches, and I'll just place 4 points, so it's essentially a flat site. And then I'm finished editing, so now the terrain is there. If I go back to the 3D view, these model lines were there just temporarily to help me keep my drawing kind of tidy looking. And then what I want to do is go out and get some additional content. So under the Home tab, if I want to find things of a general category, in other words, not walls, doors, windows, roofs, ceilings, floors, but kind of a general thing, a catch-all, components is the category that's used for that. You can see I've got by default, furniture that was in here, but I say load family, and I go to the entourage folder, which is kind of a folder for people and trucks and vans. I'm going to pick on RPC female and say open. That's going to bring in these different female characters, and I'm going to pick on the one called Tina. And the thing about these is that they get placed on the terrain object, so no matter what elevation the terrain object is at, when I place, it'll be placed at that elevation. Also, I can hit the tab key to turn them as I bring them in. So if I look at the arrow is the direction that Tina would be looking in, so I mean the arrow at the base. So if I place her at the entrance there. And then other categories of site components include things like trees and shrubs. So if I go down here, I'm going to try and find some shrub material, maybe the dogwood. Oh, it's not so small, 10 feet. Let me try and find something else like honey locust. See how I can turn it as I bring it in. And I thought there was some smaller material in here. Let's say the 18 feet. I guess not. Let's see if I can load a family and go to planting, and let's get some shrub material. And for the shrub material, there's some acacia, so let's do this and pop them in around the entrance, or go to the floor, the site, plant here, and just dragging them to where I want them to be. And I'm going to go back to my perspective to entry, and I'm going to render this. I'll keep the high quality. High quality is generally for things like posters, so it might be a little too high resolution for displaying on a screen, but it looked a little better than the medium quality. I'll click on Save to Project and OK, and then I'm tabbing until I'm at the bottom that says Display Model, so then I can switch back to that and get rid of my render dialog. So now I've got this view, and this view are these renderings that I can use in my presentation. I can put them on a sheet. So talking about sheets, the next thing we need to think about is how to document some of our project. I'll go back to my 3D view.